Hi everybody, my name's Ken from Upscale Audio. Man, I'm kind of excited today. Look at this, it's a beautiful new product from Hi-Fi Rose. This is the RS451. You know, I've been a fan of digital music, even though when I first experienced it, I didn't know back then it really wasn't very good. I didn't know that. I was late teens, and CDs came out, and I ran to buy it. I bought a Sony CD player with like all but the last $10 I had, and look where we are today. Now, I want to make sure I say I've never lost a love of analog. There's nothing like putting on a vinyl record and listening to it for the whole side, but digital is better than it's ever been, and I hope you agree with me. So I've got a personal love for Hi-Fi Rose because when I very first saw the RS150, I saw that touch screen and I couldn't keep my fingers off of it. And I no longer have that RS150. I have the RS130 dedicated streamer, and it feeds direct to my DAC. It's a very nice product and I love it. Where did Hi-Fi Rose come from? Because as hi-fi brands go, they are still relatively new on the scene, even though they have come a long way and they've got a lot of products out now. Let's go back, 1954, Sci-Tech is the mother company. It's founded. One of their initial product successes was with set-top TV boxes. And for more than 50 years, they've been doing custom hardware, custom software, integrating the two. One of their recent successes is touchscreen consumer-facing kiosks. In 2017, one of the key executives for the company convinced the others in their group to say, man, we can make hi-fi products. We've got all the tech we need. It's more than the RS250A that's $2,700 and below the RS151 that's $5,000. Comes in black or silver like many of their models. Here's something though that's kind of unique about this one. There's two DAC chips, but they don't run in series, they don't run in parallel, they feed two separate circuits. So the two separate circuits in this device, the headphone outputs here on the far left side, and then on the back, there's preamp outputs or fixed level outputs. And you can select those fixed level outputs at all kinds of various levels, anywhere from a half a volt all the way up to like 10 volts. And this is very beneficial, especially if you're trying to feed like an old tube amp or an AV receiver. It's very versatile. A lot of these functions on the touch screen are super impressive. This is an 8.8-inch touch screen. It's smaller than what we find on the RS130 and the RS151 because it integrates these personal audio headphone plugs here, the beautiful black volume knob. Who doesn't like a nice big volume knob? Look at that baby. So I mentioned there's analog outputs on the back, RCA, balanced XLR. There's lots of digital inputs and outputs on the back, including USB in, USB out. One of the ones I want to make sure to mention, the HDMI ARC. So this is so you can integrate with your TV or your AV system. So the eARC will feed the eARC will feed the digital signal from your television or your AV system to this, so it can decode the audio and send audio to your left and right speakers. I also use a pair of subwoofers to augment that, and I love having 2.1 sound from the TV. I don't want all the wires and the clutter of center, rear, overhead, side speakers. If you have a great 2-channel system, it is amazing. It can really be very revealing. So in addition to that, it also has HDMI out. And you're thinking, why would you have HDMI out from a streamer DAC? Well, the RS150 did that. The RS151 does that. And the reason is there's an app. You get the app, you download it on the Rose store, and there's other apps available on the Rose store. We'll talk about that in a minute. So now the RoseTube works with YouTube. So now you can watch, for example, the Rolling Stones concert on YouTube. RoseTube will select the version that has the best resolution for audio, and through that HDMI output, you run it to your AV system and your TV, You've got a great picture. It resolves as good and maybe better than many TVs. And you get the best sound decoded from a great DAC. It's going to be better than your TV. Trust me, I've compared them. Let's talk about Rose Connect. Rose Connect is the app that controls the unit. From your phone, from an iPad, it works with iOS, it works on a Mac computer, a Windows computer, Android. It works everywhere and everything. And it's one of the few that will work with a Windows or Mac computer. And here's why that's cool. This can also be a really nice desktop system. It's got a very powerful on-screen menu, does stuff like EQ, multiple VU meters. One of my favorites, it's actually got a clock interface on there, 15 different clocks, even calendars, and a Nixie clock. So I mentioned the Rose Store, where you can download apps to run on this device. A couple of the interesting apps that I've had some fun with, the Apple Music. So instead of doing AirPlay to your streamer, if your music is already in the Apple Music ecosphere, you can run Apple Music natively on this device, and now you get the full resolution. It's not dumbed down or compressed with Apple AirPlay. It has a Shazam plugin. Who doesn't have Shazam on their phone? And it has one of my favorites, the Rose FM. It mimics an FM tuner that is going to tune in your local radio stations on internet radio. That's just a couple of the features that it has at the Rose Store. So let's talk about how this sounds and how we listened to it. We paired it with, naturally, and I thought a good choice, a Hi-Fi Rose RA180 integrated amplifier. The RA180, what a beautiful looking integrated amplifier, very unique. It is powerful and very versatile. It can do bi-amping, bi-wiring, lots of different amplifier configurations because there's 4 amps in there. Because of all the power, it is dynamic, pressurizing the room. It does that really well. But it's smooth and easy to listen to. It was a great pairing because it's voiced very similar to this streamer or the other Hi-Fi Rose DACs. We didn't try, but I think because of that would also be a great choice, the Hi-Fi Rose RA280 integrated. The 280 is exactly half the power and half the number of amps as the RA180. What we did try as just a power amp, using this to control the volume, was the PrimaLuna EVO 300 Hybrid. The Hybrid uses tubes as the front end in almost a tube preamp configuration, and the sound was smooth and rich, a very rich tube harmonic. It was a great pairing for this, and I thought very natural sounding. The sound of this device on its own is, I think, fairly laid back, natural, musically insightful, and accurate. In fact, I'd say it's very accurate without the kind of hyper detail that causes fatigue or makes you a little uncomfortable. It's not like that at all. Many of my coworkers found it to be slightly warm. I didn't feel like going quite that far. I did think the highs were airy, had really nice smooth mids, open bass that was tight, textured, tuneful. It's got nice layering, inner detail, and complex passages, accurate images that are well defined, a deep sound stage, but it's not artificially wide, and it didn't have quite the depth that the RS151 has. Like the 151, though, the overall tonal balance is wonderful, very nicely balanced. Nobody's going to find this clinical. Nobody's going to find it fatiguing. It's just a great streamer DAC. But that's not all it is. Let's talk about what else it is. It is a nice desktop headphone amp. So right here, we have a 6.35 millimeter headphone jack. When I was a kid, we called it 1/4 inch. It has balanced 4.4 millimeter and balanced XLR. And earlier I mentioned there's dual DAC chips. So here's why there's dual DAC chips. One DAC chip feeds the headphone amp. One DAC chip feeds the preamp. With dual DAC chips, as I switch back and forth, if I have a fixed output for the preamp, I will still have variable output controlled by my fancy volume knob that I love to touch. We tried it with a lot of different headphones. First, let's start with the Meze, because this was one of my favorite pairings. The Meze 109 Pro, I have those at home. The Meze Elite. We tried the Focal Clear MG, the Focal Utopia. The Utopia was amazing. The Sennheiser, wow, those Germans. The Sennheiser HD 660 and HD 820 were both wonderful. I'll tell you, cut to the chase, my favorite was the Meze Elite. I think that's because I'm so familiar with listening to the 109 Pros at home that I prefer the tonal balance of the Elite. But the Elites had space, air, deep, tight bass. I mean, I could sit and listen to that for hours. So, you know, this is such a versatile device. As I sum up, I would say it makes a great choice for your home system, your main system. It integrates beautiful if you've got a television or an AV system to work with. But it's not just that. Unlike many other streamer DACs, this can do dual duty as a desktop amp. Use a desktop amp. If you buy your computer, you can control it with the app on your desktop. You can feed the HDMI output to your computer monitor. And also, I thought about this, it'd be wonderful for a bedroom system where you've got a TV in your bedroom and you like to listen to headphones with the TV late at night. Oh man. Also, a lot of people that I know that have a personal audio space where they have like this lounge chair and they just sit back and listen to their favorite music late in the evening with their headphones. Perfect for that. So I want to thank you for listening. If you're watching, if you've come this far in the video, you know, Upscale Audio, we're going to treat your system like it's our system. We have experts with headphones. We have experts with digital audio. And whether you buy this from us or not, I think you'd really like it. But if you have some questions, contact us and we can tell you more and answer your questions. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching.